Why this plane? Who pushed the button? Who gave the orders? The answer, we don't have those answers. Those answers are in Russia. And we don't get that answer.
It has been a decade since Malaysia Airlines flight MH17 was down on July 14, 2014, killing all 298 people on board, including 43 Malaysians. The plane was hit by a Russian-made Buk missile over conflict-ridden eastern Ukraine. On November 17, 2022, the Hague District Court sentenced Russians Igor Girkin and Sergei Dubinsky, along with Ukrainian Leonid Kharchenko, to life imprisonment for their roles in the incident. Meanwhile, Russian defendant Oleg Pulatov was acquitted. In tribute to the victims, a commemoration took place on July 17 at the MH17 National Monument in Park Vijfhuizen near Schiphol Airport, Amsterdam. 5 Malaysian media outlets, including Malaysiakini, were invited to the remembrance events starting on July 15. On the eve of the 10th anniversary, Digna van Boetjela, former Deputy Public Prosecutor and coordinator of the Joint Investigation Team, spoke to the Malaysian press about the challenges encountered in this complex case.
What was new in this case, and what was something that we didn't know yet about then, what we know now, is that the amount of disinformation. And later on we found, and not only we, but especially also journalists and international investigators, and found that in the first 48 hours after the downing of MH17, there were something like 26,000 tweets saying #Ukraine. Ukraine did it, or Ukraine. And those tweets were found back to come from one IP address, and that was in St. Petersburg, and later found as one of the first troll factories. And the disinformation was very diverse, but in 2016, a day before the press conference of the Joint Investigation Team, there was a press conference from the Russians. And they said something else than we were going to say. And there was, in 2014, there was a press conference from the Russians, and they said, like, here you see the satellite pictures, this is the fighter jet, and if it is a Buk missile, it's coming from another area.
The remaining wreckage of flight MH17 has been reconstructed and is being used as evidence in ongoing criminal and civil investigations. Malaysian journalists visiting the military base in central Netherlands were shocked by the state of the wreckage, including the heavily damaged cockpit, which had taken the brunt of the missile hit and was pierced by shrapnel. The rest of the aircraft was torn apart in mid-air. The ongoing conflict in eastern Ukraine made it difficult for investigators to recover the wreckage of the aircraft, which was scattered across 6 sites. Meanwhile, the reconstructed wreckage remains a stark reminder of the tragedy that claimed 298 lives a decade ago.
This is the backpack of my youngest grandchild. And as you can see, without any scratch, it's coming down from 10 kilometers high. There's all his belongings in this backpack. His cuddly toys, his pencils, his books, his cars, his toys, cars, everything was in that backpack. Even the label of Malaysia Airlines, you can read it. It's not burned, it's not scratched, no. It's like a new one. From 10 kilometers high downstairs. You know? That's a miracle. That's a very miracle. My problem is this. I'm now 80 years old. And I'm still alive from 10 years ago to today. But the life of my kids has been taken off with violence. And that has not a good feeling. Why can't they have steady on with their lives? They were innocent. Everybody, the next of kin were innocent in that case. That's worrying me. And that struggles me. My way of life is to do something for those 3. That's why I'm sitting in that board of the MH17 Foundation.
On July 17, over 1,500 relatives and friends from around the world gathered at the MH17 National Monument in Vijfhuizen Park near Schiphol Airport to mark the 10th anniversary of the tragedy. The Malaysian flag, along with 16 others representing the victims' countries, flew at half-mast amid a poignant display of sunflowers symbolizing remembrance and hope. During the ceremony, the names of all the victims were read aloud. Malaysiakini spoke with some of the next of kin who attended the memorial.
My goal is to emulate my father's career, so the plan now is to become a pilot. See what the future holds and hope for the best. I would say I was inspired from my dad since when I was a kid. Every time I see him leave for work with the uniform, a sense of pride, serving his nation as well, give me a mission deep down that I want to do the same thing. I want to follow his footsteps, and it's always been a core mission in my life to emulate him.
After 10 years, it's been 10 years, has the pain eased for all of you?
Well, the pain did not ease, but we have learned to deal with it better because we always remember him. Every day, every second, they're always in our hearts. Every time I do something, I think about what my father would want me to do. And he's guiding me, even though he's not here, but he's still with us spiritually. My mom actually had to take over my dad's role, and I find it difficult to see because of a sudden change. And it was difficult to see the family struggle, but after 10 years, I think we managed to get past that stage and recover well from this tragedy.
Are you guys satisfied with the court verdicts recently?
Yeah, I am, but there's more to know. Just as what Hans said, there are still questions about who fired, and why did they fire. Did they think it was a civilian plane? Did they know that? They had to know.
So are you expecting apologies from the Russia?
That would be a nice thing, but I don't expect it.
Not at the moment, but maybe in the future.
The trial was very good. Of course, there were 3 people convicted who organized it locally, but we still have big questions. Why was this? Was it on purpose? Maybe. Some think it's not, but some things. And why did they fire it? And is there one day coming an apology from people who organized this? But from Russia we don't expect this, but one day maybe it will.
So Russia has never apologized?
Nothing.
Speaking with the press, Dutch Prime Minister Dick Schoof, who was previously involved in the joint investigation, vowed to ensure that those responsible for the downing of flight MH17 are brought to justice.
But it has my personal involvement, because from the first second that there was a mentioning of an airplane crashing at that time, not knowing downing, I was involved as the civil servant in charge of the crisis management, together with the former Prime Minister. So I have my personal involvement in it. And that makes sure that we will have endurance. It's very important that the countries stick together. And if necessary, I mean, the JIT, the Joint Investigation Team, is suspended. But whenever there is new information, they can start up immediately again. So international cooperation is very, very important.
And is your message to all of the victims and their families to not give up hope that justice will one day be served?
And that they will not give up hope, but that we will strive on, but there are no guarantees.
On July 15, Transport Minister Anthony Loke affirmed Malaysia's unwavering commitment to pursuing legal action at the International Court of Justice against those responsible for the downing of flight MH17. Meanwhile, the unresolved grief of the victims' loved one continues, with their calls for justice resonating in a world that has largely moved on. Azreen Madzlan reporting from The Hague, the Netherlands, for Kinitv.